Okay, so this is a video that's going to show you how to put together a twin gearbox assembly. So you're going to have to find these parts. So if you take a look at the pictures on the right, you've got the actual photograph of the object. So this is called the long yellow bushing. So sometimes you might find it on the smooth shaft already. So we're going to need 2 of those, and that you can see that it's going to need to be 3.5 millimeters. So it doesn't have to be super exact, but it should be pretty close to 3.5. One of the ways you can do it is using the digital calipers and measuring from the tip to the flange of it. Okay. The next thing that you have to get ready is the 2 hex shafts. So the hex shafts, you can tell because they basically have flat edges on them. You've got 2 grub screws, and you've got an Allen key, and I'm not sure what they call this, but it's kind of like a nut. And what you want to do is have 16 millimeters from the flat part here to the nut. So you can sort of see that you can measure it this way. With digital calipers, you want to have this grub screw tightened on the flat part so that when you have your robot driving around, it doesn't come loose super quick. So you need 2 of those. I've got 2 different ways of showing this slide. So this is step 3, and we're going to consider this the left side. So what you want to note is this aspect right here on the upper left. You can see that there's a little pin, and it goes and corresponds to this other side of the middle part. Okay, so you're going to start by holding this in your hand. And the first thing is you're going to take these eyelets and put them in so that they're going to basically cause there'll be a metal surface for these 2 axles to fit in, which will help with, I guess, wear and also the way that it fits. So then after you've done the eyelets, you're going to take the smooth shaft with the long, what was that called? It's basically a spacer, and you're going to put it in the one closer to this little clip part, and then on the other one you're going to put the hex shaft through. So if you look at this diagram, you can sort of see that the hex shaft is going through the little eyelet, and it's actually plugging into this hole, not this one up here, but actually the one that's behind it. So in the diagram up here, it kind of looks like you're putting it in here, but it's actually going through the brass eyelet. And so then once you have your 2 axles in, then you're just going to start stacking up. So the first yellow gear that you're going to use has this hex pattern in it, and you're also going to look for this little slot for the grub screw to stick out. And so you put that in, and so that would be this view here, and then you're going to go with a blue gear followed by another blue gear. And if you do it correctly, when you spin the hex shaft, the blue gears should actually spin, and you'll get mechanical advantage from that. So if you spin the shaft once, it's going to spin these a bunch of times. Okay, so then you're stacking gears up. This, I forget the name of this type of gear, but it has the teeth on the side, which is going to mesh with purple gear later on, as I'll show you in the end. And then after that, you're going to put this metal spacer in, and then you're going to finish off with the 2 eyelets. So once you have the 2 eyelets on, then you can grab the middle piece, which is shown in the diagram up here, and you can make sure that these 2 aspects match, which would be this part and this little pokey part. So it's very common to flip this middle piece so it's upside down, which means you have to take it apart, so you gotta be careful. And so this is another view of it right here, where you have all the gears fit together. You got eyelets on each end of the axles, and everything fits nicely together. So now you can start putting the screws in. So the screws are actually the long ones, so you could measure them. They're the 18 mil as opposed to the shorter, maybe 12 mil ones. And you put them in, and then you screw them in with a screwdriver. So this is just a different layout. The way that you look at this is going from left to right, and Then once you get to the middle, it's still left to right, and then it's left to right again. You sort of see that there was an added one where the screwdriver is tightening the screw, but I think you guys get that. So that's the step 3, the left side. So now this is very similar. It's the right side. So in the instructions, it seems like you're placing it all together on this aspect that's already assembly, but I would actually grab the far right side and put it together as if you're doing exactly what you did before, but sort of holding it in your right hand maybe. So you can see that the first is putting the eyelets in, the second is putting the smooth shaft in, and then you start building the gear structure up. So the yellow one, and then the two blue ones. And then after you're done the 2 blue ones, then you're going to go to adding the spacer and the second yellow one, the one with the teeth on the side. You're going to finish off with the 2 bushings, or the eyelets, I guess. And then you're going to wiggle it together. You'll notice that there's a pin here, an alignment pin on this side as well, and that this will be a view from the top, and these alignment pins would be on the bottom. And from there, once you get it together, you can use the screws to hold it. Once you have it secure with the screws, then it's a little bit not so worrisome. And then of course tighten them up, and there'll be 3. There'll be that open hole, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so this next part is, once you have the gearbox together, you want to take the purple gears, which probably will be on your motors already, just because kids have assembled them. If you did have them separate, you'd have to take the purple gears, start it on the motor shaft, and then put it on a hard surface and push it down so that it's flush. So here's me pushing it down on there. So once you have that, then you can sort of notice that these little copper flanges are going to go to the outside, and then you're going to wiggle it through so that the purple gear is meshing with the yellow gear that has the teeth on the side, and you're going to click it in. So you should hear it actually click, and then you're going to do it on the other side. So this picture here kind of shows that it has to push in, and then this little thing will click on the outside. And so this is what it's going to look like when you have them both in. This little, I don't know what would be called, H-like figure is going to hold the motors away from each other, which is kind of more of a spacing issue than anything else. Okay, and then once you get that, you should be finished. Anyways, good luck.